Rodriguez for the injured Sean Landeta. A 47-yard punt. And we'll be back at Veterans Stadium, still scoreless. We are scoreless at Philadelphia's Veterans Stadium. The Eagles first down at their own 15-yard line after a 47-yard punt by Rodriguez. Keith Sherman off tackle. Picks up about 4. For an NFL update, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Tim, at Minnesota, the Packers need a victory, and they're in the playoffs. A 29-yard par to Jackie Harris pass sets up Harry Sidney's 2-yard run, and the Packers are out in front early, 7-0 in the first. Tim?
Got a feeling the Packers might be the team there, even though that game is in Minnesota today, where it's tough to beat the Vikings at home. The Packers definitely on the rise, and the Vikings struggling a bit, especially at the quarterback spot. Walker, not much. Maybe a yard on forward progress will leave third down and a long 4.
You watch right there, they brought Byers back in motion, and they were going to use him as a wham blocker. And what happened was Walker came behind the block and it closed down real quick. Now with Herschel Walker, the kind of running you like to do, Tim, whenever I played against him, that man has got to be going north and south. If you can get his shoulders going sideways, you'll beat him every time. This is a man who's got to stay square and has got to run straight ahead.
Cunningham off for Walker behind him. Little pressure up the middle on Cunningham, but really just a bad pass intended for the outlet man, Herschel Walker.
Well, they come with the blitz. They bring Pepper Johnson right up the middle, and just exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles had done on their third down. They crush the pocket, get a bad throw, force the punt.
Well, the Giants defensively have stymied the Eagles on 2 consecutive offensive possessions. Fiegels standing at his 5-yard line. Meggett waiting for it at the Giant 38. Good punt from the 29. Meggett skitters his way up to the 38-yard line after a 49-yard punt. Otis Smith got him there. Pretty good return for Meggett. Well, there is a man who has had a rather difficult Christmas season for sure. Season's greetings have not been too pleasant for Ray Handley, the Giants head coach, winding up his 2nd year as the boss man of the Giants, and it's been a season of turmoil. 14-17 his record over 2 years. And of course, the media in New York and the fans in New York seem to be hollering for the return of Bill Parcells, who so far has not indicated that he's interested in the job, but it seems like most people feel he is. Cross and Brown, double tight ends. Hostetler, that's complete. And no, it's dropped by Ingram. Ingram had it, but not long enough for a completed pass, as the officials so indicate. You know, getting back to Ray Handley, much of his problems seem to be those of a communication nature, and it doesn't necessarily mean that this guy isn't a good coach. But I know.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, what we talked about at the beginning of the show is saying, you know, is this a good fit? And I mentioned that I had been around a bad fit with Mike Shanahan and the Raiders, and that seems to be what's happened with Ray Handley. Now, X's and O's wise, he's fine. It's just that you have to be able to get the X's and O's on the field, and that has not come across the New York Giants.
You have all of your players believe in you. Hostetler under pressure. Scrambles for about 3. The ball came loose. Eagles have it. William Thomas, the linebacker.
And the man who has to make it happen for the Philadelphia Eagles, Reggie White, appeared to have stripped that ball, and Thomas picked it up. The big break for the Philadelphia Eagles. Hostetler has nowhere to go with this ball, so he decides to turn it up. Now Reggie White will come from the backside off of Riesenberg right there. See that? Just smack the ball away. And when things go good for you, the ball bounces right into your hands. And that didn't happen to me in 12 years, Tim.
You were looking for one of those all that time. Look at this ball come up to Thomas. Like a lateral. So the Eagles first down at the Giants' 39-yard line. 30 to the Giants' 27-yard line. Myron Guyton steered him out, number 29. 12-yard run for number 12, Cunningham. You don't want to see him running the ball at any time. 515 yards rushing on the season.
And Tim, when he takes off today, there's a good bet he's going to be going around his left side. Now, they told me yesterday, the coaching staff of the Eagles, that Corey Miller is the guy who's just not comfortable with that Giant defense. It didn't look like that to them. What he'd like to do is bite inside, and we saw them taking advantage of it right there.
Williams, a wide receiver, in motion to the ball and back. Walker got a couple close to the 25-yard line before he's driven back. Johnson, the linebacker, 52, and Miller, the linebacker, 57 on the tackle. Miller, of course, having to fill the large shoes left by Lawrence Taylor, gone for the season with the Achilles injury.
Well, when you think about the New York Giants, at least in my mind, it was always defense. You went down there, they just had all kinds of linebackers. They just had a good, strong, solid front. And defense carried this football team. And what has happened this year is that the defense has slipped. The absence of Lawrence Taylor and really the absence of young guys not stepping up to the plate has hurt the New York Giants.
Eagles with a 2nd down and 8. Giants hit him immediately, but Byers holds on and struggles for a first down, and he may have it.
Well, the Eagles rely on their go-to guy now, Keith Byers, making the catch, but the go-to guy for the New York Giants has been Pepper Johnson. Now, when you speak to the Philadelphia Eagles, they say they rely on this guy completely. He's their heart and soul now, and he's their emotional leader, and he's the guy who has to make something happen. Now, the guy to make something happen for Philadelphia, 41, Keith Byers. It's interesting, when we spoke with Pepper Johnson, he and Byers are very good friends, but he said the thing that Byers has learned to do is turn to the ball faster than any other receiver. He thinks that Randall Cunningham will try to throw the ball to the first guy open.
And it's just short, as you can see. And so by Byers, you're saying by getting that head turn more quickly, is frequently the first guy open.
He gets
having a good look at it.
He says as soon as he gets into the pattern, he just turns. Sometimes he breaks his patterns off. He won't take him as deep. He just wants to get open so he has a chance to get the ball.
When you think about the loss of Keith Jackson going to Miami and Byers stepping in there, Cunningham made much of the loss of Jackson early in the season as contributing to his own problems at quarterback. Now he feels he's got the same kind of production from Keith Byers, who's probably his best friend on the team.
Yeah, well, forget about catching the ball. I'll tell you right off the top, Keith Byers is a much better blocker than Keith Jackson ever was.
3rd and very short at the Giants' 17-yard line. No score first quarter. Cunningham should have it with a second effort, and they signal first down, Eagles. Eagles down here in scoring territory in the so-called red zone as a result of the fumble by Hostetler on the smack from Reggie White and the recovery by William Thomas. Richie Kotite preparing now for the playoffs that lie ahead. 7-0 at home and wanting to make that unbeaten mark. The last time it happened, 1949. So it is of some particular distinction. They won the NFL title that year, and that may be an omen should they complete this season undefeated. Lots of time for Cunningham in zone for Williams overthrow. Perry Williams on the coverage of Calvin Williams.
Well, Calvin Williams, he made his break and he wasn't sure the ball was going to be there, so he slowed down. That allowed Perry Williams to make that step up, and the ball was over his head. It's more important with Rich Kotite than being 8-0 at home is the fact that you've got to be winning going into the playoffs. And they've not had success in the playoffs as of late. They've lost, and they want to go in on a win.
2nd and 10. Keith Sherman. Whoa, what a shot at the line of scrimmage. Ed Reynolds and Eric Howard